Crane and other folks to remove those logs from the dam. Very dangerous operation and a very expensive one. Potential litigation for fish passage. But probably the biggest issue on why the Board of Commissioners said, let's apply for this grant, is at some point in the future, the county is going to have to invest significant funds to keep that dam there. Concrete structures do not last forever. And at some point, we're going to have to invest a lot of money to keep that there, likely more than it would cost to take the dam down. And so that's the biggest issue that the Board of Commissioners has concerns about, is a huge liability that's looming over the county that's going to have to be addressed at some point in the future. So where are we at today? Now that's what generated the discussion to say, let's apply for this grant and get some money to look at this and potentially take the dam out. So where are we at today? We have received a $5 million grant from NOAA to remove the dam. And the grant was dam removal, not dam study, but dam removal. And studies are part of it. The Board of Commissioners have requested more information on what's in the sediment behind that dam. They have requested a public process where the public could provide input into this process. And they want a clear decision on what the environmental process looks like and how to get approval if the dam is removed. These three things are either underway already or will be underway when we award a contract to potentially remove the dam. Mr. Morrison started out by talking about this is not a final decision, and it's not a final decision. But I'm not going to lie. They're favoring dam removal. If they weren't, they wouldn't have us apply for the funds. And it's because of that huge liability issue that's looming over the county about how do you deal with this. They're looking at saying this is the right thing to do to remove the dam, and they're kind of favoring it. That's going to depend on the sediment, public involvement process, and the environmental process. So currently we have a request for proposals out, an RFP out currently to remove the dam. The RFP closes on September 4th next month. And the way that we're delivering this particular project is an as-built contract. And those not familiar, typically the way you deliver public works projects is you have a firm or in-house people design it. So you have all the plans and specs and design, and then you ask people to bid on doing that work. Under a design-build project, you combine those phases into one. So the people actually doing the dam removal, in this case, are the same people doing the analysis and the design to remove the dam, as well as the environmental studies. So the environmental or the design-build contract that we've awarded on this is requiring that the sediment transport be studied. Basically, if you remove the dam, where does the sediment go? We have to study that and come to very clear conclusions on what happens with the sediment. They have to do all environmental work on this. And currently, we're expecting an environmental assessment on this, not a full environmental impact statement. And they have to do all the restoration studies and show how we can restore the area. In addition, they have to get the permits, they have to do the design, and they have to do the demolition and removal. Our plans are to have a successful bidder under contract on October 1st this year. One of the things that makes this a scary project for me is we have a year to do this. And we don't even technically have a year. We have a year to get all the work done, but you also only have 3 months to work in the river. And that's actually, say, August 31st, not August 1st. At some point in this process, the Board of Commissioners will make a final decision saying remove the dam or don't remove the dam. Probably the place that's going to occur at is after we receive all the bids and we're ready to award a contract sometime in the September time frame. What form that takes, I cannot tell you at this point because I don't think they know. A lot of what we're looking for is what the RFPs are that we get, how are people proposing to move the dam, what kind of process are we looking at to get the work done. But there will be additional public input opportunities. The Board of Commissioners will make a final decision on this, and the board will be receiving comments on that. There's really 3 issues with delivering this project on time if the dam is going to be removed. And the 3 issues are time and time and time. If this is going to happen, it is an extremely tight time frame. I applaud the consultants that are looking at bidding on this project, and it is very tight and very, very aggressive. I think what I'll do is just save any questions until Craig presents his.
Okay, Craig? You're going to address recent studies and regulatory implications.
Okay, we've talked about, Don and Eric touched on a lot of the environmental issues and issues with dam removal. So I'm going to quickly just go through some of those and then we can discuss them some more. One of the chief issues, of course, is fish passage. And as Don mentioned, they're not only threat of third-party lawsuits for the county, but also just the fact that the Endangered Species Act, coho is listed as threatened. And they're having, difficulty getting over the dam and fish ladder. The fish ladder has been, the Oregon Department of Fish and Wildlife has noted that the fish ladder is substandard. The dam and all the appurtenant structures are very high on the state's priority list for fish passage removal in the entire state. And so that's one of the reasons why this project rose to the top. As you can see in this photograph, the laser pointer, where the dam comes, the water comes over the dam at the base of the fish ladder here, even in low flow times like this, it creates some difficulty and turbulence for fish to enter the fish ladder. And during high flow times, as I'll show you some photographs of that in a minute, it's almost impossible for fish to get to the base of the ladder, up the ladder. So sediment in the reservoir is another big issue. And as John mentioned, analyses are going on right now to determine, the components of the sediment, and also just how it's, the silt, sand, rock, cobble, gravel and cobble, those kinds of issues, or the makeup of it. And as you saw in some of the other time-lapse photos or photos showing from 1952 until present, this area here has accrued, or a lot of sediment has gotten in this area. However, when the dam's taken out, most of the sediment that would enter the river would probably come right out of the channel here and some out of the sloughs, but most of it would remain in place or would come out, in time after a high flood. So wetlands and riparian forest are another big issue, and I know that many people are concerned with the wetlands behind the dam. However, as this old photo from around 1890 shows, the riparian forests in that time were very healthy, and if you had aerial photos, which Eric noted you didn't have planes at that time to take aerial photos, however, you probably would have seen that the river had a lot of braided channels that flowed out across that big flat area. There were probably a lot of wetlands out there. So erosion is another big issue. Construction, during construction, also post-construction. And the reason I show you this photograph is just because of to demonstrate the erosive power of the river. You can see that, and this was in '97. You can see that chocolate milk color of the river. And also, another thing to note about this is the water flowing off, and right under that is the fish ladder. So part of the problem, as noted earlier, is that an old dam, even concrete dams, won't last forever. And during some of these floods, I wish we had the photograph digitally to show you, but there have been times where this whole area over here has been jam-packed with logs, and not only puts extra stress on the facility, but then trying to remove those logs has also been a safety issue. Matter of fact, when the helicopters, Eric's and aircranes were trying to pull those logs off of there, I've heard stories about how they people were watching it from the helicopter veered a little bit. It's a little bit dicey there for a minute. So riparian revegetation and invasive weeds. Obviously, when you take the dam out, the water level will drop, and there'll be a need for revegetation, and try to get in there and beat the Himalayan reed canary grass and the Himalayan blackberries to the punch, and replant with native species that will provide shade and habitat for animals. And that's just an example of a revegetation project on Jackson Creek in the Environmental Protection Act.